Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of the Fashion Grunge Podcast. I am your host, Lauren.
And I'm Jai.
What's up, everybody? I'm really excited to talk about, we're doing Before Sunrise today, 95 by Richard Linklater, just so you know. Send us 5 stars on Apple Podcasts, like and subscribe and do all that fun jazz. Yes, got it in early. I'm excited. So Jai, what are you up to now? What's going on? What's been happening?
Highlights. I watched a really freaking cool documentary the other night, on Sunday night actually.
Oh yeah.
Jazz on a Summer's Day. It's like 1959 is the Newport Jazz Festival.
Yeah.
And
wait, what is that available on? Because I was gonna tell my dad about it because he went to.
So you actually had to go on the website because the festival was cancelled this year for COVID, obviously because of COVID. So there's a link there, and it costs $10 because they're trying to raise money to compensate from the fact that they canceled the festival this year. So I guess it goes towards people that normally work.
Yeah. Oh, cool.
Which is really cool. It's honestly, I don't want to exaggerate, but it is such a freaking amazing doc. Like the way it's shot is just so stunning, really beautiful.
Cool.
Like I'm actually surprised it's 2 guys who did it, but it's I don't want to give away too much, but it is really artsy, really beautiful, and pretty much sort of focuses on the fashion aspect of it, of the festival, but obviously the music. But it's not even. I know you don't love jazz, but I highly recommend it.
And this is the one. Is this the one? I'm looking it up right now. Is this the one that actually came out in 1959, or is this a recent one?
No, this is a 1959 one. So
okay. So it's the one that came out in the 60s or in 1960s.
I think they released it recently.
Oh, right. Okay.
You see performance by Chuck Berry, Chico Hamilton, and Louis Armstrong, and it's just so good.
Cool. Oh yeah, I want to check it out.
Yeah,
I'll tell my dad about it since he used to go all the time when he was.
So we drank whiskey and watched it on Sunday night on the projector, and it is the way to do it, basically.
Oh, cool! I wish I could. I don't have a wall big enough, like that, an empty wall big enough. I wish I could have a projector, but hopefully in my next spot I will have a projector.
Yeah, it's just another way of watching things, and it's really cool. It's really cool. So yeah, that I highly recommend, and I've been working on a shoot, and I've also been listening to new music. That's really exciting.
What are you listening to?
It's basically Rival Consoles. He's from the UK, and he's part of this label that has honestly the most incredible music from the past, and in my opinion, for my taste. They are the only label who's done anything really interesting in the last 10 years. They're called Erased Tape Records, and they're based in Hackney. They actually run the corner from our old place, but they have Niels Fran Erased Tape Records.
Cool.
They have Niels Fran. They used to have Kiasmus, Olafur Arnold. Rival Consoles was the first one, and it is just electronic. But
I'm looking now. Yeah, the artists. I don't know these artists.
Yeah. They're really they have a really good eye, and basically a lot of them are from Iceland, Norway. There's a couple from Japan. They're kind of not completely experimental, but they're very unique bands, musicians.
Okay, as someone who does not know anything about this genre and type of music, what is the first thing that you suggest I listen to? Because I'm going to listen to one of these artists. I think you kind of know my music taste. So what?
Well,
see if I like it, and if you're like, okay, if you don't like that, then I don't.
But the thing is, they're all really different from each other. That's the thing. That's what is really cool.
Make me a playlist.
Okay, I'll make you a playlist.
Of bands on this record label.
Let's do that. Yeah.
And then if you guys want to make it public, I'll put it on the website. So if you guys are curious, if you guys are curious to what we're talking about, I'm going to find out about it too. So I'll report back.
Yeah, I hope people like it, but it is very I know it's not everyone's cup of tea, basically, because
Yeah,
it's
well, I'm
but
excited.
yeah,
It'll be
cool.
cool.
What about you? What you been up to?
Let's see. I watched that Vow
Yeah.
documentary that I was just talking to you about the Nexium cult, which is some kind of weird sex cult where some actress got arrested like last year and the founder. And I remember vaguely hearing about it, but I had no idea what it was about. So it's on HBO. I think it just started on Sunday and it's like every week. So they're just kind of getting into the basics. It's really weird, but if you like cult shit, then watch it. I mean,
Yeah, I can't wait to watch
yeah, I
it.
think it's going to be 6 episodes. I've been watching the Helter Skelter documentary on Charles Manson for the last 5 weeks. The last one is next Sunday, and honestly, as someone who watches a lot of stuff about that like kind of stuff, I found out a lot of new information in this one that I never knew. And two women who I've never seen interviewed that were part of the family also said a lot of things that we didn't know in like pretty terrifying detail. But
Mm.
but yeah, it was really fucked up, but crazy, but pretty interesting. I think the last one is this Sunday, so they talked about the trial in the last one, so I'm sure it's probably going to be like
What's that on? What channel?
oh, it's on Epics. It's like a premium channel, but I think once it's done, like I'll after this Sunday, which will be the last one, I think you can sign up for like a free week trial, and
Oh, okay.
you could just sign up for a week and then just like watch.
I bet it will go on Netflix afterwards.
It might, yeah. I feel like it might. They also have one on Laurel Canyon that I really want to see. It's all about like the hippies and like Joni Mitchell
Oh
and
yeah, I
like
want to watch that.
yeah, same. It's like that vibe of like everyone who gathered in Laurel Canyon in like the 60s and 70s in California. So I want to see that too, but I think that's already been out. Either it's been out or it's coming out, but yeah, I've been into docs lately. I'm also watching a really horrible one about the whole Weinstein thing called The Reckoning.
Oh, I know. I've seen it advertised, but I just don't want to watch it. There's so much I can take, and I've already
Yeah,
watched the other one.
it's
So
yeah, there's so many. I'm just like, God, these poor women. Like this is so I've been watching a lot of documentaries lately outside of watching a movie that's a lot more exciting and emotional and joyful, Before Sunrise.
yeah, I
Yeah.
know. Oh,
I know. It's like instead of watching things about how terrible shit is, like
oh, you need a balance, don't you? And
yeah.
also, what a nice treat to watch this film
Yeah.
again. Like I've seen it like 8 times, I think.
Yeah, I've seen it about probably the same.
Yeah.
Like a fair amount of times, but I feel like every time I watch it, I see something else. Or like I think you probably just grow as a person as you watch it. And like some of the topics that they talk about are kind of things that you either thought about before or you're like thinking about now and stuff
Yeah,
like that.
totally. Yeah.
So it's really interesting. Yeah, what are your first thoughts? Like when's the first time you saw it?
I actually don't remember the year. Definitely didn't watch it and like when it came out. So I
Yeah, me
remember
either.
I rented it. So I went to Blockbusters back then. Yeah, we used to have a Blockbuster. So I rented it and I watched it on my own. That I
Yeah,
remember.
same.
Yeah, because I used to watch a lot of movies. I had like really bad insomnia, so like it was around those years, and I just watched so many films on my own. Even though I lived with my sister still, she wasn't into the same, well, she still isn't into the same sort of stuff. So yeah, I, I love the beginning. I love how it is genuinely so romantic from start to finish, and it's just like took me back to being in my early 20s. Like, you had all we had was our dreams and adventure spirit. Like, I remember thinking like, oh, this is probably based on a novel, and I want to read the book, but then I found out that it wasn't, and it's
Yeah,
kind of
no.
like interesting because it really does seem like. I mein, it's just crazy, the more I read about it, the more it was clear why it was so good because Ethan Hawke and Julie co-wrote it because they thought that it didn't have that much romance or something like that. I think I
Yeah.
remember it. But yeah, I mean, I just really like it, and I rewatched it. Like I rewatched it last night, and I thought, it's quite hard to make a film um that is so packed in dialogue between just two people and that isn't boring.
Yeah. Yeah,
Because
totally.
I think that's quite a hard thing to do. It's almost like it could almost be like a bit intense, but it's actually not, because there's like cool, quiet like moments in it too. And I just love all the things they do in a day. I just love everything about this movie, really.
Yeah, I love the editing component. It's just so good because you feel like you've seen them on this entire night, but in
Yeah,
reality, you haven't. You've only seen them like what, 2 hours or like an hour and 40
it's
minutes.
an hour and 40 minutes. Yeah,
Yeah, so like it's just so incredible how they seem to show like the most important moments of the time
yeah,
that's like stretched out between them. And also I was reading some of the behind the scenes, like Ethan Hawke and they were all writing it kind of like periodically as they were shooting it, and they said there was like for every one scene that you see there's like 17 that we didn't include. So if like you
wow,
can imagine like how they wrote the scenes and kind of what they didn't include, I mean it boggles my mind. It really does. I'm like,
yeah.
crazy, I can't even imagine that.
And it is just so cool, isn't it? That it's all. It's not even a full day, because they meet quite late in the day. I mean, they get off the train quite late, I suppose, and then they do all this stuff. But it's I think I love films that take part in like this in one day, basically.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah,
What
it is
about
really
you?
crazy.
When did you first watch it? Do you
I did the
remember?
same. I was in high school. I don't remember exactly, but I did rent it. So I don't remember exactly like how old I was, but I know I was in high school. I think I'd seen it before I went to uni, but um let's see. I think I bought it on, I know I have it on DVD and I've had it for a while. I don't remember like when I got it, but I'm trying to think if I ever had it on tape. I don't know if I did. But I know I rented it. I really loved it from the start. I liked Richard Linklater from Dazed and Confused.
Yeah,
So
I
I was
figured
just
you were
like,
gonna say that.
I was like Dazed and Confused. I think Clueless and Dazed and Confused are like the two films in my adolescence that I loved so much. Like I was just obsessed with Dazed and Confused. I got super into like that 70s music and like all like that whole vibe, and got into like wearing bell bottoms and like really cheesy like 70s stuff and like lava lamps and like blow up furniture and shit. And like it was just, yeah, like at that time it was just really cool, like because 70s was like the 90s now. It was like 20 years ago, so the 70s like kind of came back in
Yeah,
like a weird
exactly.
way in the 90s. I don't know if a lot of people probably, we
No,
always talk
you're
about
right.
the 90s,
That is
but yeah, but
true.
when
Yeah.
we were kids there was like a big 70s thing. It was like what do you call it, like corduroy and like,
Overalls,
yeah, overalls,
yeah,
bell
platforms,
bottoms,
all
yeah,
things that they
platforms,
had in
yeah,
70s. Yeah, no, I
yeah,
know.
totally. So it's really cool that every 20 years it kind of like goes through it. Like I think the 2010s was some 80s shit, or 2000s was like some 80s shit. That's when people wore like weird like neon.
Yeah, it was all like new rave,
Yeah, which is like, yeah,
80s
80s.
basically.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, it was not the finest decade of
Yeah, no,
fashion. No.
no, as we were talking about in 10 Things I Hate About You, like what the fuck is going on? Like it's when fashion started to get really weird.
Yeah,
It's like,
awful.
uh,
The funny thing is I don't really remember what I was wearing, but
I just
I
know it was probably bad. I mean, I remember
oh,
some things that
yeah.
I would never wear
I
now.
know. I had a couple of things that were like these bright t-shirts with crazy prints, like very 80s, and
Hmm.
like leggings. Definitely wore quite a lot of leggings, but
Yeah, like
like
American Apparel, I got really into. That was like a
I had
thing.
the disco pants,
Mhm. Yeah.
with the funny pockets that were so high up that made your bum look funny.
Yeah. They had like that
And
weird zipper.
yeah, I know. Yeah, not cool. But I
Yeah, no,
mean,
it's not cool, kids. It's really bad. It's really bad. God, please do not dress like this. I think it's kind of coming back for some younger kids because it's like vintage, but
it's
no.
vintage, not for
For
us
them, yeah,
anyway.
yeah, not for us, but I, no, kids, don't do it. It's really bad. But yeah, that's about all that I have for my. I mean, I've seen it. I love it. I bought it on DVD and I watch it like periodically. I do have Before Sunset, the next film in the trilogy so far, and then I have to say, shockingly, that I have not seen the last one because it was on Netflix, and when I was going to watch it, it was gone, and now I don't know where it is. So I
Well,
have to
guess
watch the
what?
third one.
I have not watched it either.
Oh,
It's
good. I thought you were
crazy.
gonna be like, Lauren, how could you?
No, I
I own the
haven't.
first
And
one
I'm
on
like,
DVD.
yeah,
Yeah.
because I couldn't find it when I wanted to watch it, and then I guess I forgot about it until
Pretty
now.
same thing. Oh.
But Before Midnight, yes, I've seen that like so many times too. Am I remembering this correctly? Or okay, before I watched it, when I knew we were gonna do this movie, I
Mhm.
remember in my head like Celine being a little bit more intense. But then when I watched this, I was like, no, maybe it wasn't Before Midnight. Is
That's
she?
the one where that's the one I haven't seen. The one where they're like
Sorry,
have
I meant Before
Sunset.
Sunset. Yeah,
The one where she's a bit older.
yeah.
I
Because
think she's a bit more intense in Before Sunset.
yeah, that's what I remember. Because I wasn't sure if it was in this one, but then as I was watching this, I was like, oh no, it must have been in Before Sunset, because I definitely remembered that very vividly. That she was like quite intense, like
She
full
was,
on.
yeah, she was more intense in the second one. And I need to watch the second one again. I haven't seen it for like a while. So I can't remember like, I mean, I know about the film and I know like how it ends, but I don't remember like exact things that happened.
Yeah. Oh,
but it's just so
good.
good though. I have some behind the scenes information. Do you have any?
I have some.
What are yours? Do yours?
Well, I'm sure. I mean, I'm sure you have this one too. But the idea of the movie came from a night that Richard Linklater spent walking around Philly and like met a woman in a toy store, I think. And they kind of like stayed in touch for a while, but then contact kind of got lost, and he never heard from her again, even when he became kind of like a well-known director and the movie came out. And I think he found that around 2010 that Amy, the woman that he met, had died in a horrific accident before the release of the film. So she never even got to know that he made a movie about them, you know?
Yeah, isn't that crazy? I read this.
Sad, very sad.
I know, it is really sad.
Yeah, I like that one.
Yeah.
Shall we do one each?
Yeah, okay, well, I have combined. It premiered 25 years ago at Sundance in January.
Yeah.
And it was made for $2.5 million, which is like so short.
I mean, know, it's not much. Yeah.
No, not at all. It's kind of crazy. And I also have another note. Julie Delpy got into like a equal pay dispute because she got like a tenth of what Ethan Hawke made for the first.
What? No.
Yeah. Yep. And then she got half of what Ethan Hawke made for Before Sunset.
Oh no.
And then she said that she wouldn't do Before Midnight if she didn't get equal what he did. And they've all been writing it this whole time. It's not he's ever not done anything he has. So.
But also, they both act in it equally. You know what I mean? It's about both of them, and they both co-wrote it. So yeah, like it doesn't. This is just one of those awful. I mean, 90s and in general, like things from the past when women always were underpaid. Men always got paid. I mean, still do sometimes. In some places, get paid more than women. It's so absurd, but. Good for her for fighting to get equal pay.
So blatant, like a tenth.
Also, I'm surprised that Ethan Hawke wouldn't say anything. And maybe he didn't know, but
I
kind of would have been nice.
None of them made any money, but I don't think they knew like how much each other made. I have no idea.
Okay.
But I think that the budget was so light, but I'm sure because he'd just come off of Reality Bites, that like I think it was more of like. I don't know. I think he probably maybe had a high quote or something because he was like on the come up. He was in like Dead Poet Society. He was in Reality Bites. Well, he was in something else in like '93. So he was like, so American wise, I mean, obviously Julie Delpy, I think, had worked in Europe before, but like, I guess maybe to get funding from American people. I don't know. Maybe they're like, we need someone that we can sell or like sell this to. Who knows?
Yeah, who knows?
But thankfully she did get her equal pay.
I'm so glad. That's really cool that you found that.
Yeah.
You found that out. I think it's really fascinating that they basically got the script and they were like, no, this is lacking in like romance. This is just not good enough. So they helped to rewrite it. I think that's really amazing. And like, what's really sad is that they weren't credited for that film. For
the writing.
Yeah, until I think they were in the sequels, but not in this one, which is kind of crappy. But
yeah, because this one is like the foundation,
Yeah, but I mean, it's cool that people. I mean, they obviously got credited for the sequels, but also people found that they did co-wrote the first one as well. So
yeah, that's true. So now people know.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's see. I have Yeah, they were working on the script like on the weekends, like throughout when they were shooting it. And then when they were casting, I think like Sadie Frost was in the running too with Julie Delpy. They were like two at the last, they're like the two women. And then
Oh,
there
that's
was
cool.
Ethan Hawke and someone else, I think that I was reading in that New York Times. And then I friggin' like clicked off of it and they're like, you need to pay for it. So I was trying to write that down.
Oh.
And I was like, holy shit, man. So yeah, if I can find it again. Oh, I think I found it. I found the article. Let's see. And even like I guess Linklater also said that he oh wait. Okay, so Before Sunrise made 5.9 million domestically and 17.2 million internationally.
Yeah, which is really cool.
Mhm.
What's also really interesting is that they didn't really make that much from the first one, but the sequels made like a lot.
Yeah.
And it was like gradually. So the second one made more and the third one made like way more, than
Oh, I found out. Michael Vartan, he was in the last running with Ethan Hawke.
I don't know who that is.
I know that name, but I don't know. It just says Never Been Kissed, but I don't think I've seen that movie. That's the one
Oh, Never Been Kissed with Drew
with Drew
Barrymore.
Barrymore, right?
I've seen that. Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't seen
A long time ago, like when it came out.
Yeah, right. Yeah, it's from like it's late '90s, isn't it?
I think so, yeah.
Oh, cool. All right, I'll maybe have to check that out. I'm reviewing Poison Ivy next week, so
Oh, cool.
with Charles, I'm super stoked. I guess we're doing this weird like Fatal Attraction series
You
with our episodes.
you two are doing that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and then with Mike, I'm doing like all the scary ones, all the like fucking weird. We're gonna do The Faculty actually. I think
Oh, cool.
next week with Josh Hartnett.
Yeah,
And
it's
other random hot people, but Josh Hartnett was like everything in that movie.
he was for a very long time.
Yeah,
He was
like
super hot.
he still is. He's in Penny Dreadful, another thing I
Oh,
love
right.
with
Yeah,
Ava
but he's
Green.
not. I feel like he was cuter when he was younger.
No,
Or
he
maybe
looks
just my taste
he,
changed.
no, he looks amazing in that movie or in
I
that
think
film.
I've just evolved.
What?
I've evolved. My taste has evolved,
Have you?
maybe.
I guess, yeah. I mean, I think no one had seen him for a while during that whole bit when he got busted for like having sex in like a London public library.
What?
You didn't know this? That's why Josh Hartnett's like so fucking hot. And then that was like
No.
maybe like 10 years ago or something. And
I
then
did not know that.
yeah, and then no one saw him for a while. And then he did this fucking Penny Dreadful, and everyone's like, "Holy shit, it's Josh Hartnett! He's fucking back!" And yeah, I think it
Wow.
was something lame. Like I don't think he like got in trouble or anything, but it was some kind of rumor floating around. But maybe it was, maybe it wasn't true. Allegedly, who knows? But I guess it like improved his like status as people were like, "Oh shit!" Like he's doing all this crazy stuff. He left for a while, then came back.
Huh.
Yeah.
Well, I guess it was when it was meant to be cool to have sex in the bathroom, but obviously.
Or like in a library. I think it was like in a library.
Okay, library. Sorry, that's
Yeah.
an upgrade from a bathroom.
Yeah, it was like something weird, but it might have just been one of those weird rumors. But everybody
Maybe.
said it was
Who knows,
everybody said it
right?
was him, but who fucking knows? But anyway, he came back and he's amazing. I love him.
Yeah, I read that Gwyneth Paltrow and Jennifer Aniston auditioned for the lead for Julie's part. Obviously they didn't get it, but it's crazy that the director spent 9 months casting the film because he saw like so many people, but he just didn't really feel like any of them were right. So 9 months is quite a long time
Oh wow,
to find the two main, the leading roles. Is crazy.
that's so.
And I'm
weird.
also so glad that he didn't go to Gwyneth Paltrow or Jennifer Aniston because it would have been a completely different film.
No.
Like I love that it's Julie Delpy and like she's French and I just love everything. I think it's just perfect. Yeah, I can't imagine anyone else really doing it.
God, yeah, it's just so weird
What?
that it would be Jennifer Aniston.
I know because it would have. I don't think it would have felt like a I mean, not that it's a super serious film, but you know what I mean. Like, I just can't imagine the film even doing that well because actors like bring so much to movies. I mean, like, I don't think she's ever done anything that's really great.
Jennifer Aniston.
Yeah.
I'm not a big fan of her.
Yeah, she hasn't done like.
She's done some like every now and again. She does those like weird, like really dramatic roles. Like she did one where she was like a waitress in like the mid 2000s. It was kind of like it was very dramatic. Like it was not what you're used to seeing her in. But then she kind of goes away for a while.
Well, the thing is, to be honest, I feel like she's actually not a bad actress, but she's always gonna have that like Friends cloud over her head. You know,
You
it's
think?
kind of like, yeah, I think it's really hard for people to get past that. Like, I don't know. And also, she's done a lot of like rom-coms. You know, like
Yeah, she does. And that We Are the Millers, she did that one with the guy from what's his name? SNL? Is that
yeah.
Jason
No,
Sudeikis?
I haven't
Yeah.
watched it, but I know of it. Yeah.
And then she was married to Brad Pitt, and when she was married to Brad Pitt, like she was kind of like they were like attached, at the hip.
Hmm.
Like they were just together all the time.
I
Oh,
still like secretly want them to get back together.
fuck no. Jeez. I watched Mr. and Mrs. Smith the other day, and I was like, and I have it ordered on DVD, but it was like on TV, and I was like, okay, I'm like writing stuff. I'm gonna put this on the background, and I was like, this movie is such a fucking setup. Like, how the hell do you expect them not to be? I just don't like. From minute one, they're at the therapist talking about like their marriage. I was like, these two are fucking banging, and you guys know it, and you're just like fooling us now. Because now that we all know what happened, like when you watch it now, it's just crazy because you like know that they ended up together and like have all these kids and stuff. But just the way that when it came out, it was like, you weren't sure, like he was still married or was he married, whatever. Like it was all like in the tabloids. And I was like, was that all just to promote the movie or?
No, I don't think so. I think you could see like they had so much chemistry and like.
Yeah, but it just seemed all so strange and weird. But I was like, this movie is such a setup. I mean, it's a good movie because it's just like funny, but it's just such a setup.
Yeah, well.
But, do you have any more behind the scenes notes?
I don't actually.
I just have one other one. Was that Richard Linklater, Julie Delpy, and Ethan Hawke spent 3 weeks in Vienna, at like as an intensive ahead of the shoot. So they like spent a lot of time in Vienna, which is so cool.
Oh, that's right. I did read that. Also, am I wrong, or was it in this film or before Sunset? Where I think it was before Sunset. I think the day they shot, like, well, that whole week when they were shooting, it was like the hottest summer there.
I think it was here.
It was this one, right?
I think it was this one because they were asking Ethan Hawke in one interview like why he was wearing that turtleneck. He was like, it was actually like just something I wanted to wear, and I think it was like someone in his family or something. And he's like, and then in retrospect, like, why would I be wearing a turtleneck like in June? Like it was just so hot, or like whenever they.
Yeah, they just said that the weather made it really challenging because it was literally like one of the hottest weeks. They had like record temperatures. Like,
yeah, which is crazy.
It's like for anyone out there who knows Celsius, it was 38 Celsius. So
that's really hot.
Yeah,
I know that 30 is hot. So I know that like 38 is fucking hot. That's kind of insane. Yeah, just even the cameras and everything, just being out.
Yeah, so hard. I can't imagine that.
God,
you have to concentrate. Pardon?
I think that's all I have for behind the scenes.
Yeah, same.
Okay, cool. So let's get into the movie. All right, so I love that the first way that they meet is like through that arguing couple.
Me too.
Like, and
I love
just
that.
something that would happen because I feel like that's kind of I don't know, as a kind of a comment on like when you usually talk to a stranger, there's some kind of like commonality that happens.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's weird if someone just goes up to you and goes hi, without any kind of like prior like communication.
Yeah, well, I guess you find an excuse. Sometimes,
that's true. But yeah, I really like that.
Me too. I love that. I think it's all very relatable and it's very realistic as well. Like,
it's like almost too. I think the director said that they don't get as much credit for acting because people think it's so real, and they think that it's not like written. People think that it's literally just them ad-libbing on camera and someone's just filming it. Like they're actually acting, but it's so real. Like I believe that these two we're watching their life, like it doesn't feel like it's a script and it's a story and it's going somewhere. It's literally, you don't even care if it goes nowhere. You're just watching it.
Exactly. Yeah. He said that a lot of people thought it was like improv, like between the two actors, but actually they rehearsed every line, every like scene so much that it was like actually quite insane, you know. So it's kind of funny that the final product looks so like so kind of like effortless and sort of like organic, or I suppose like yeah.
Yeah, it's a very different way to film something too.
Yeah.
It's cool. I like when they first meet and she's like, and he's like, "Oh, I'm American," and she's like, "Oh, you are? Are you sure?"
I knew you would comment on that because
That's really
he was like, "Yeah, fine. I'm like, you know, the stereotype. I'm dumb, and I don't like. I haven't gone anywhere or whatever." It's really funny.
I don't speak any other languages.
I don't speak any other languages. Yeah, which are
She's
all
like,
the cliches about Americans in Europe.
it's really
Yeah.
funny. And yeah, then you find out that he's there because he's leaving. They're like going to Vienna, like headed to Vienna, and or not headed to, but like through. And he's like, "Oh yeah, I'm flying out. Like that's where I'm leaving from."
Oh, did you hear that? Sorry.
What's up?
Okay, never mind.
Was that your water bottle?
Yeah, could you hear it?
Yeah, that's really funny because I just
sorry.
That's funny. Yeah, I just drank water too. That's really funny. But yeah, then you find out like, yeah, why he's going. And then it's really funny that he talks about like he has this idea for like reality TV.
Oh
And he's,
yeah.
like, explaining all about like people doing like mundane, dumb things, and like that's essentially like what we watch now.
It is, but do you think was this film before the Real World?
After Real World was 92.
Yeah, okay. Because I was thinking they didn't come up with it. I'm pretty sure that the Real World had come out already.
Yeah, it was definitely like a thing.
But I mean, it's still
thing. But it's really funny that he's like,
yeah, he was a spot on with like being obsessed with reality TV and like
pretty much
she
like
was
Big
like
Brother.
Yeah,
We're like
exactly.
forced to live in this house, and almost like Love Island, which is I'm just started yesterday. That just started in the U.S. It's fucking nuts, dude. Not to go on a Love Island rant, but like these people are coming out of quarantine, and they're all like under 25, and they're all just like so fucking crazed. It's nuts. Like they're all like, we've been secluded for like 2 weeks. We get COVID tests like all the time.
2 weeks. I mean, come on. Yeah.
But they're like, we've been in lockdown, blah, blah, blah. I was like, I can't believe that of all countries, America is still willing to do a reality show where there's a pandemic, it has not been declared over, and they're putting a bunch of people together in a house. What if one of them gets it?
Well,
what do they do? Like, why would they do this?
I know. It's really bizarre, but, you know.
I can watch this. I didn't know it was going to be like this fucking bad because...
Maybe they want that because it will, like, create, like, drama and, like, more content, like,
I don't know.
Like for people to watch. I don't know.
So yeah, I think that's really funny. And also I was just thinking the whole time that this conversation just really reminds you of like not having a phone.
Yeah, you have no distractions. Like
no distractions.
You'll be just reading. I mean, this is what I mean. Like I think I definitely felt very nostalgic watching it because it's all those things that you used to do, you know, they obviously people who are like 20, 22, they really don't know what we're talking about. But it was like so nice to actually talk to strangers and like make friends on a bus or on a train, you know, and like read or listen to your Walkman or whatever. Yeah, it's just sad that we don't have that anymore.
Oh yeah, I think I'm sure there's some parts of America that might still be like that, like smaller,
like rural America. Yeah,
maybe, and like more like some type of other non like urban metropolitan city. But it just seems like in Europe there's still like more of a like I don't know, like there's more of like a trusting nature if you meet someone in Europe. Not to say that everyone on a train in Europe is like totally fine, but
no, there is. You're absolutely.
I feel like in America, I just would I think, which was one of the notes from that New York Times article, was that he was saying, Richard Linklater was saying like, I could have said it in America because it obviously happened in America, but there was like I could get funding from like Eastern Europe, and there was some kind of like funding they could get for the film to shoot it there. So they were like, so we just shot in Vienna. We were able to go overseas, but I feel like it would just have such a different vibe if it took place in America because
I agree.
Way more like I don't know, I'm way more, I don't know, like reserved. If someone was to come up to me and talk to me, I would not be this open with anyone.
Yeah,
I,
and I mean, no, you're right. I feel like it's very different, like culturally. Like I think I was really young in like '96, so when the film came out. But I definitely got to experience that, like late '90s and like 2000s, just like be on a train home or going up north somewhere or going to a festival all by yourself and just making friends. So like even just flying. I remember I used to always make friends with like flying from London to Mexico City is like like a 11-hour flight,
mhm.
sometimes like 12 hours, right? So it, it's just like the magic of that, like just like going somewhere, making a friend, or just like talking to strangers and like going on adventures, or like going to Europe, like traveling around Europe or something, like
Mhm.
backpacking, yeah.
It's something that doesn't happen in America. It's really sad.
Do you think it's because there are so many serial killers here?
Serial killers? No, I don't think that's why, but I think it's probably comes with uh I think it's also the nature of living in like a really fucking large country. I mean,
Mm,
Europe as a continent is just so small. So
yeah,
I feel like people are just used to living closer together. There's just kind of a more sense of community. I feel like the closer you live together, somewhat. Like it's not anything that you can really define, but I feel like in general you're just kind of less skeptical because you're like, oh no, they're from this town. Like I know everyone from this town, like I know someone who knows this boy or knows this girl, like it's just kind of, yeah, things happen in those places. But here it's like, it's impossible to know everyone. And like everyone,
yeah,
it just feels like a stranger all the time. I mean, even in your
yeah.
neighborhood, I guess, if you live in.
No, that's true. I mean, do you think it's also to do with the age they are? Because I feel like,
It's true.
I mean, I definitely see the difference. Like when you're in your 20s, you're definitely more open and you're more
Yeah,
like
totally.
adventurous, and you're just like you have no. I think it's really hard for anyone really, when you're that young to kind of think of the worst scenario. Like
Yeah,
I
that's
had
true. That's
so
true.
many occasions when I put myself in really like weird situations, but I mean,
Oh, same.
none of them turned into nightmares. It was just like I was just
Yeah,
very like free spirit and trusting, and I'll be like, yeah, you can like give me a ride here, and like
that's true.
um I just make friends in Glastonbury, and like they drove me back to London. It's kind of like it's just very different. I think it comes from inexperience, but also you're just young. I think
True. Now
a
I could never
40-year-old,
be doing this,
as a
but
40 or 30-year-old, you already have you had bad experiences, so it's easy to be more cautious,
that's
or
true.
it's kind of inevitable to be cautious.
But that's what's so, yeah, that is true. And that's what's so good about it is that there wasn't any like, you could just tell it was supernatural.
It was.
It wasn't like he wasn't freaked out or she wasn't freaked out, like thinking that this could be weird. But I feel like, yeah, if it took place in America, I mean, it might be cool too. It might be cool for there to be like this type of version. It does happen in America. It's never happened to me in America. Every time I've gone in like some kind of weird situation, it's never been, it's like, hey, you want to go to a rave? And I'm like, yes. And I end up in Queens at like a warehouse. It's never like this. Trust me. It's never someone who's like really like creative, intellectual, and like fucking sober. Like, I mean, never. It's always like super late and like, at a bar and like, hey, we're closing, like let's go somewhere. But it's never been anything like quite like this. When I had an experience, not in a romantic sense, but just like a really intense like for person connection. Like
Hmm.
it's really strange. It happened to me in Italy, and we kept in contact for a long time. And he was a writer, and I took photos of him. We like spent the day in Florence, and yeah, it was really like, yeah. And he sent me like a package of all this stuff, and he was from South Africa. He sent me
Oh,
like a
that's so
package of all this
cool.
stuff. But yeah, and he was like writing to me all the time, and he had like 2 books of poetry. He was just really like a super cool person. And like this film, like now that I watch it again after all these things, reminds me of the few friends that I do have like internationally. Like my friend that I have in Iceland, I met on a street. Like
Oh yeah,
yeah, it's
that's
like a
right.
really interesting way. And then when I ended up going back to Iceland without Mikey, I like went and stayed with him, and it was like really cool, and like totally got to like meet his family and stuff like that. It was just like really awesome. But that was a weird way that I met him as well. Like met him on the street and heard his band playing. He plays like sick music, and it's just crazy. But they've always been international. It's never been anyone here.
Yeah, no, I mean, I definitely haven't encountered that with Americans, but yeah, it happens in Europe like quite often. I had the
Yeah.
same. I had like going to some party, no, like a festival, and then make friends with some kids, and then literally spend 24 hours with them, go to their apartment, like drink, go to the canal, and just be like covered in makeup and just talk throughout the night. And it's just so cool. Definitely had that like a connection with someone, but um it's crazy. He actually died. Like
Who?
we
All
were
the bunch of
friends.
people you met?
Yeah, the guy that I kind of like had this connection with. It was like a group of five. I went with like two friends, and then it was three of them. So it was like a group of six, five of us, I think. Yeah, six of us, and we met, and it was so amazing. We spent like 24 hours together, and like we watched the sunrise in the canal in London and everything.
Cool.
And we had Facebook at the time, so we kept in touch. And like 4 years later, then we heard that he killed himself. And he was like
Wow.
an artist too. He was a writer. When we met him, he was writing a novel. But it's crazy because he went to Oxford. He was like super smart, you know.
Wow.
But yeah, it's very sad. I think he was gay, and I think he was having issues, kind of like coming out, and that's what his friend said. Like, but
Oh,
anyway,
oh.
very like movie like. But yeah, magic happens in Europe every day.
Yeah, I feel like I'm sure it happens here. It's just probably in a different way. If you have a
Yeah.
story like that, email us, hit us up. I'm curious to know.
That was so cool to hear. Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, maybe just because we haven't. I mean, we're just two people, man. Who knows?
Maybe we're just old. Maybe like that
Yeah,
happens
maybe
to
that
kids
happens now.
now.
Yeah,
You
people
know?
get together from like Instagram and probably have like incredible connections because you've already connected in a way through social media. So it does make people. A lot of people have friends from the internet, like that they met on the internet, and then they're like actually
Yeah,
friends with them. So it's just a different way, I guess now.
I guess. Yeah, it's a world that I have just no idea about. You
Yeah,
know?
same. I have no idea about it. Let's see. And then Jesse's leaving and he's like, okay, I got to get off the train now. And he like convinces her to go. And she's like, I don't know. And then he's like, come on, like, I don't have anything to do. Like, let's just walk around. So like she gets off and then I'm like, oh my God, they're going to walk around. This is cool. And then, and he has that fucking thing on, that fucking turtleneck on in the train, but then he switches out into that black leather jacket with the gray
Yeah, he
shirt.
has like a gray
And
T-shirt.
then it
Yeah,
literally looks like Troy Dyer from Reality Bites. I was like,
that's right. He does. Yeah, totally. It's the
oh
same
my God,
vibe. Yeah,
now it's totally the Reality
same
Bites.
haircut, everything. Yeah.
And it's like greasy and like the way his hair is, it's like the same vibe. And then it's really funny when he convinces her. I love how he convinces her to leave with him, and he's like, "Come on, what about like 10 years, 20 years? You're gonna be like married, and you're just gonna remember like what would have happened if I'd gone with that guy." And like
Yeah,
so
such a good
maybe,
line.
yeah, like maybe like I won't be anything and whatever. Like you won't like me, so it's fine. Like we're not gonna lose anything. But like, what if you do? And I was like, oh, cool. I like that like whole rationale.
I know, me too. I mean, the thing is, she has nothing to lose because it's true. She can get back on another train the next day and like,
Yeah, and make it. She's going
yeah,
to Paris, right?
yeah.
And I love how she's like super paranoid about dying, and that's why she's not taking the train or the
Oh, I
plane.
love that.
It's like, yeah, I think about dying like 24/7, like all the time. Like she's like super neurotic about it, which I think is really funny.
Yeah,
Um,
that's just her personality. She's just like,
it's just really funny. And I wrote like Jesse's so sweet and nice. And then let's see, then we run into those actors on the bridge, which is really funny. And it's like these two guys, and they're like asking them like what's there to do in Vienna, and they're like, oh yeah, we're actors in this weird play about like a cow.
I know, I love them because they are so random, but I actually have met people like that
Yeah, so
from
have I.
like I don't know, Norway, some Germans. This is very like eccentric and like unique. Yeah, it's really funny. He also makes a joke about like, oh, are you American? You don't speak any language or something.
Yeah, I know. I think he was like, "Hey, do you guys speak English?" And they were like, "Yes." Do you speak German for a change?
Oh, yeah, that's right. That's what he says. Yeah.
And he's like, "What?" He's like, "I'm sorry, it was a joke." But yeah, that's really funny. I definitely get it, man. It's lame. It's super lame.
Oh.
Um, I wrote like this reminds me of that really sketchy. This is actually I wrote in my notes. This reminds me of that really sketchy guy that came up to me at Barnes and Noble.
Oh my god, I was there.
So I was there. It was pretty fucking terrifying, and I'm sure he was an axe murderer. He was fucking weird, dude. It's fucking so weird. This dude, like, we're sitting at Barnes and Noble, bought fashion magazines, drinking the Starbucks. Or we're at the Starbucks at Barnes and Noble, and we're like drinking this, totally having fun, whatever. And this guy like walks up, who weirdly enough looked like my cousin. So like this was not ever gonna happen, and like he was just like charging his phone or something. I don't know. He was like, I charged my phone, and I was like, oh my god, we're getting robbed. What the fuck is up with this dude? Like he's gonna like grab my bag off of this chair.
He was looking at you so
But it was
intensely,
really fucking creepy.
but like in a creepy way. But and then
Yeah.
he said something like,
Ugh,
I can't remember, but it was some brilliant weird line. I was like,
it was strange.
you're from. He thought you were from somewhere else. I can't remember.
He kept making me guess, or maybe whatever, making him ask me like where, like guess where am I from, and I was like,
And
yeah.
he's like, are you an artist? I can tell. La, la, la.
This is the example of crazy weird, and like it's never a guy like Jesse on a train who's like not a fucking weirdo.
I felt it was really hard for me to contain my laughter because it
Yeah.
was just so mental. Like,
Like I have to go. I was like, I don't know what I'm gonna do. Like at least we're in public, and I was scared they would like follow us out. I was like, what if he fucking follows us? I don't know. Like, that's the first instinct I have. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Probably says something about society that we live in, but I was just
Exactly.
I was like, this is crazy. Anyway, so they run into that the actors of what the cow play, and then I love when they get on the train and they're sitting in the back, and then he's like, "All right, rapid fire questions. Like we're gonna just ask each other random things." Because we've been together for a little while. And then he's like, what were your first sexual feelings like towards someone? Oh, that's such a weird question. That's the first thing you want to know.
I know. I think guys always ask that. Or, I mean, they used to, based on my previous experiences.
That they would ask what was the first time you had sexual feelings towards another person?
Or
towards
that,
another
or like when was the first time you had sex? Yeah, I feel like that's something that only men ask. Women don't really ask that for some reason.
It's really strange. I found that to be a really strange question. And then I love how she's like talking about this guy who's like a swimmer or something when she was growing up.
Oh yeah, he had no hair and he was just so beautiful. He was like, ugh.
Yeah, it's so strange. I thought that was so strange. Let's see. I have like when was the first time that you liked a boy, Jai?
Oh.
Were you in school or were you older?
Well, I can tell you because I'll never forget this because he was like my first crush ever. I was 5.
What?
I was in kindergarten and I loved this boy who was like
Oh wow.
Okay, so just so you get a full picture, his dad was like super cool and he used to wear like jeans and like leather jacket and used to pick him up on his motorbike. So that's already
the
like
boy was 5?
Yeah, with his little helmet and everything. And so his name was Jadir or like Hadir or whatever. And he was like so beautiful. I still have a picture. I'll show you next time I see you. I have a picture of like
him like as a kid?
No, like kindergarten, like class or like
Oh my god.
that year, whatever it's called, like class photo, whatever. And so yeah, I had the biggest crush. I remember thinking the highlight of my day is when we finish, when we leave, and then I get to see his dad picking him up, and he will be like, "Bye, Jai." And so, anyway, I had to tell you this because it's really cool. So I was 5, like then obviously like didn't see him. Like I guess he went to a different primary school, whatever. And then I have this best friend when I was 13, and he's like, "Oh yeah, you had to come to this party. My cousin is coming." Guess who it was?
No way.
Hadir. Yeah, we're 13 right now, and I'm like, oh my god, he is just like so beautiful. He's like doesn't disappoint. He grew up and like he's just so hot. So I had still a crush on him.
7 years.
But the cool thing was that he actually really liked me and he wanted to go out with me. And he told our friend, who was his cousin, I really like Jai, I want to go out with her. But then my friend apparently had a crush on me. So he was like, no, you can't. But yeah, we kissed and like, I think made out. But that's it, really.
Oh, you never went out with him because you're
No, because then I moved to the UK. So yeah.
Oh, damn.
But
Do
it's
you
a
know
pretty.
people around? Like, do you know anyone that knows him?
I'm not really friends with any of them anymore, but yeah, I should probably. I mean, I'm
That's
just curious
fine.
to see.
Yeah,
I
curious,
asked
what does he do now?
one of my friends saw him recently, and apparently he's quite short.
Oh.
13 we were all the same height, but obviously he kind of stayed behind. So, but yeah, I think it's a pretty cool story. My crush, and then
his dad sounded super hot.
Oh yeah, super cool. Yeah, pro rocker. Yeah, no, I know.
He sounds like he was in like Motley Crue. He was like,
yeah,
this kid with this motorbike.
I'm just happy that I got to hang out with him when we were 13 for quite a while, and I got to kiss him and everything. So that's pretty cool, Not regrets there.
Oh wow, mine was definitely way later. I definitely had a crush on this boy named Oliver in my like 5th grade class. He had a leather jacket and he had an earring. He was really fucking cool.
He had a leather jacket.
He had a leather jacket. Yeah, we were like what, 11? Like 10, 11? I don't remember like any younger than that. I don't know if I like ever had a crush on. I don't think so. Younger than that, but that's just really funny. He was just like this boy that I liked in my class. But then the summer when I was 11 or like either 11 turning 12, I went to summer camp, like how you see on TV. And
I went
to like a sleepaway camp, right?
Cool.
For like 2 weeks. And like there was this boy there and his name was Tom. And he was definitely like maybe 14. He was like 2 years older than me. He probably was like 14. I don't think he was 15. I think he was 14. And he was just like super fucking cool. He lived in like the boys and the girls lived in cabins like on different parts of like it was near Annapolis, like where the water is. So they had like water sports and you did like archery and like, horseback riding, like all this stuff. And so you have like different blocks and you have like the lunch hall, just like you see in movies, like where you all have like lunch and dinner and all that kind of stuff. It was so crazy, yeah. So we like went out for like 4 days at camp. Super intense. We had like a social because everyone's like, I think the camp went up to like 17, but they were on like a different part. Like we didn't see the kids that were older. So like our group, I guess we were hanging out with people like within like 3 or 4 years. So it was just like super cool, but it was lame, but it was cool. We made out.
That's so cool.
Yeah, but that was never anything I want to like fall, like. It wasn't anything intense. Yours sounds like because you knew him, he was in your class with him and stuff.
Well, also he was my first crush, the first one I ever liked. So I was just really lucky that I got to have that. I think
that's pretty cool. It's a pretty like original story. It's cool. And then of course she asked like, "Have you ever been in love?" And I love how he's like, "Yes, go on." Like next question, she's like, "No, you don't get to just answer one word." Like.
I know he's kind of cynical, but I feel like deep down he's a romantic, but he just doesn't want to show it.
Cool.
Exactly, yeah.
Really funny. And then they like he talks about like, he's like, no, never been in like maddening, like passionate, like, oh my God, like all, everything like all consuming. But I guess like, yeah, I've told someone I loved them and meant it, but not in the way that you think of like love. Which
didn't really sound like love to me, but I mean.
No, yeah, it's probably something that you probably felt you should say, I guess. Like, who knows? And then I love when they go to the record store. So they're like, oh, let's get off. And then they go to the record store and they listen to Kath Bloom.
It's one of my favorite scenes.
Yeah, same. I think it's probably, I have like a few, but yeah, that's definitely my first.
Yeah, same. It's so great. I love that. I love that song that's played.
Yeah, I think it's Come Here by Kath Bloom.
Yeah, it is.
And apparently production note is that is actually like real, like them in that booth together because they had not heard the song and the lyrics of the song prior to them filming it.
Oh wow, that's really
cool. They're listening to the words and like what's happening, like all that like interaction and like tension is completely real. So that's pretty
cool. I also read that because that song was in the movie. Then a lot of people were like into the music and they wanted to know who was why. So this artist Kath Bloom like did really well. Like because people were like, "Oh, we love your music," and so she actually released an album after the movie came out because she was inspired by the fact that people liked her music.
Oh, that's
Which is
awesome.
really cool. Yeah.
Yeah, and also, and then so I do like that whole scene. That was one of my favorites too. And
Same.
then we get to the Ferris wheel, and they're like high up, and it looks really cool.
And they kiss for the first time.
Ethan Hawke is a weird movie kisser. It's kind of strange.
I knew you would say that. His face looks kind of funny when he kisses.
Yeah, he's no Mark Wahlberg. If we're gonna like rank movie kissers, I think like we had a pretty strong reaction to Mark Wahlberg's and Fear. Me and Charles.
No, I remember. Yeah, I remember that. But
I guess we'll have to get to others. Ryan Philippe is another good one. There's more in Cruel Intentions, which we'll eventually have to do as well. But yeah, it's kind of funny. I wrote that he's just a weird movie kisser.
Yeah, I think it's just his facial expressions. I don't know.
Yeah, it might be. It's just kind of funny.
But I love that kiss. I love.
It's so cute. Yeah, it's like at the perfect time, at the perfect place. Like
because he's not. Yeah, it's kind of like he's not really. I feel like she sort of makes the first move, or like she kind of.
Yeah, she gets close to him.
She gets close to him. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And then she's like, I love how she's like kind of funny about it because she like totally knows that like he's not going to say anything, but she's going to just make it weird and kind of funny.
Yeah.
I like that. I really like her though. I love Julie.
I know, me too. She's so great.
Have you seen 2 Days in Paris?
Pardon?
In 2 Days in Paris.
Yes, I love that.
Movie with Adam Goldberg. It's really funny. That's another good movie that she wrote and directed. If you like Julie.
I know, she's so talented. Right. And she fucking makes music too. I mean.
Yeah, and then she does some music in the second one?
I think so.
Yeah, it's the one where she's in Paris, and at the end, they're like in the apartment.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she's playing for the song that she wrote about him. It's so cute. I wrote, okay, let's see. I wrote Jesse is so cynical, and Celine is like so like romantic about life, which is just really funny. How like just in all these different situations that you hear them talking, he's always just so like, yeah, okay, like what?
Yeah. I do think that most men are like that. Like they refuse to believe in like magic or stuff like that. Like I mean, at least the ones I met, it's always the girl who's like, like more open to any possibilities and like anything like magic or whatever. And the guy is always like, oh please, like she just wanted your money, you know. Like
the palm. I was gonna say the palm reader. I thought that was cool. I liked what she said,
Me too. I really like what she said.
But of course he's like, oh, whatever, you got your money. Like there's never going to be anyone that tells you what's really going to happen. Like you're going to be like mediocre and you're going to do this, all that kind of stuff, which I was like, dude.
but she also was sort of spot on with him because she said, oh, you're still growing or something.
Yeah,
or you're learning.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're learning because he's kind of like, I guess, more immature. I don't know. But yeah, I really love that she says that the palm reader says only if you find peace within yourself, you'll find true connection with others. I really like that.
That's true. Yeah.
It's so cool.
That's totally true. And then I love that Jesse after that talks about like Quaker weddings.
Oh yeah.
I went to one. That I took some photos for my friend, and I just went to one, and it is like this. It's pretty amazing.
Oh wow, I love to go to one.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing that it has no like real structure. Like you kind of, it's really cool. It's like you just kind of like witness these two people like have vows, and then everyone just kind of like sits in silence, and then some people say things about them, or you start telling stories about them. But it's a lot of like meditation and like self-reflection, and it's really cool. It's all very like living in the moment, like being in this space together. It's really cool.
Yeah, I really like that. I mean, the way he described it was like they were just staring into each other's eyes sort of thing and not really saying anything. I think that's really cool. And then next thing you know, they're married, you know?
Yeah, it's really cool. And then we get to the poet on the riverbank, which is one of my favorite scenes.
God. Okay, can we please talk about him?
Yeah, let's talk about him. What do you have to say?
Okay. Is it just me, or he is just the Viennese sort of version of Pete Doherty?
Oh, he kind of is. He did
You know
remind
what I
me
mean?
of someone.
It's
Yeah.
like obviously he like doesn't his own language and like everything, like he does have that little twang, and like the way he carries himself, like the way he like is telling the poem, and like the fact that he's obviously writing a poem in the first place. It really reminded me of Pete Doherty, and he was like really hot, like his long hair, like everything that he was wearing, so cool.
Really
Yeah,
cool, I have to say.
yeah. It's almost like there is a fine line, and that's what people always used to say in East London. Like people don't know whether you're an actual tramp, like you're like an actual street, like a homeless person, or you're just a hipster, because it's just
It looks the same.
it looks the same, you know.
I think this is a hot take and maybe quite controversial, but I think Pete Doherty is severely underrated as a songwriter.
He
I
is.
think
I
he's an
agree with
incredible
you.
songwriter. I think he's an incredible artist. He definitely has his issues, as most artists do. But I definitely I love his music. I mean, I'm really into it. I have his book too. Like, I'm really into it. There's a really good documentary on YouTube that is like, I think it's an arena documentary. It's from like 2005, maybe. And it's
Mhm.
like during his like probably one of his most creative times that he released a lot of music and art and things. And like Baby Shambles, I think
Yeah, Baby Shambles. I mean, obviously, like, Baby Shambles is great, but I think anyone out there, if you can like check out any interviews with him, like you really get this sensibility. Like he's just like really in touch with I don't know. It's actually just really beautiful to hear him speak, and like he's just like a really sensitive guy, and
yeah,
he's
he's
like,
really interesting.
yeah, I mean, he's really smart, and I mean, I just love his brain, but yeah, I mean, he does look a little bit like he had too much fun, you know?
Hmm.
But yeah.
But yeah, he's incredibly talented. So then, like the poet in the riverbank, I love that they use the word milkshake.
I know, me too. He's like, milkshake? Ugh, okay.
Yeah,
You
and
know?
he like writes in this poem. He's like, if you like it, if you think it adds something to your life, then
I know.
money. And she's like,
I
oh, I
love
think that's
everything
great.
he
And he was
says.
like, yeah, whatever, okay, like super cynical again, like
Yeah,
yeah, whatever. He probably just plugged that word in there. Like he
I
probably
know.
had it. Like,
That's what I'm saying. He like reminds me of someone I know that I can't really name, but who's very cynical when I talk about like reincarnation and like magic and like energy, and you know.
to me,
No.
I'm kind of skeptical about some of that. Not all of it though. I'm more open.
Reiki. I'm joking.
Oh yeah,
No,
I'm more like,
I wasn't talking about you,
oh, I was like,
Lauren.
I am kind of skeptical about things, but I don't not believe in them. It just doesn't work for me. I guess I
No,
don't.
just someone else I know, but I can't really name, so
Okay,
it's fine.
but yeah, it's really really funny that he's just still super skeptical about it. And then they go to one of my favorite parts is that bar, that like seedy
Yeah,
dive bar slash
so
club.
cute.
That's like my heaven. Like put me in there.
I
Like
know.
so 90s. They have that guy
It's
playing acoustic guitar,
Yeah, and it's all about like dive bar sort of thing, you know, like that kind of
pinball.
vibe. Yeah, it's so cool.
It's super
I
cool.
love I love that they're playing that, and they're like, I was actually looking at it quite closely. Like it was real. They played, and when they lost, then it would be the next person's turn, and
It's
it was
really
very like
cool.
I feel sometimes with film they forget about stuff like that. Like you kind of, you know what I mean?
To watch them play the game because I was watching the pinball. I was
Yeah,
watching it like the ball move.
same.
And yeah, and
Me
like
too. Yeah.
that's really cool. And then at that point at the pinball, he asked about her last relationship, which is so funny that she like talks about this guy that
Oh
she
my
was dating,
god.
and then she went to the shrink and she was telling her the story about how this girl kills her boyfriend, and the shrink thought she was serious and like was like, I have to call the police. I think you're really gonna do this.
I know, and she was paying 900 euros per
Yeah.
hour. But yeah, I mean, that's when I thought, okay, yeah, she's like a bit neurotic. Like, if to think, I mean, fair enough. She obviously like had issues, but she also felt inspired to write something, and
Mhm.
it was just like the shrink was like, "Oh my god, you're gonna kill your ex boyfriend!" Like, I don't know. I thought it was really funny, but it was also like she's been really open. You know, kind of. I wouldn't share that if I just met someone, because I
Yeah.
would be worried about like what he might think of me. He might think that I'm crazy, you know?
I think she doesn't care.
She doesn't care, which is really cool.
I think she
Yeah.
probably knows that he wouldn't. I mean, I don't think that would scare him away. And then I love when and she's like, "What about you? Like, did you have a girlfriend?" And then there's like that moment of pause, and he's like, I can't believe we didn't get to this like before now. And I was like, if this motherfucker has like a fiance, I'm gonna lose it right fucking
I was thinking
now.
the same. No.
I was like, oh my god. But then he tells a story about how he was like originally going to Madrid. At first he said he was originally in Madrid to visit friends, but you find out that his ex-girlfriend lived there and she was there for like a year. And she was like on some art history thing, and he was like, all right, I'm gonna save all my money in the spring and like come stay with you for the summer. And then he gets there and he kind of finds out that like she's avoiding being alone with him and she's all these like guys and girls around. So he's like, fuck it. And just leaves.
Yeah, I mean, I understand why he didn't share that with her right at the beginning, because it would have killed the vibe a little bit. I think,
yeah, totally.
If he had told her on the train, you know? I guess it was a white lie.
Yeah, kind of. I mean, it's not like he was with her still.
Exactly.
Yeah, he was like, I had to leave this time for 3 weeks, so like I had time to kill, and I just bought a Eurail pass, which is one of my 90s moments. I don't think they have a Eurail pass anymore.
Or what?
The Eurail?
No, that was the thing. You're right. That was the thing, because I knew a lot of people that were doing it even in like 2008.
So is it still there?
Well, it was.
I don't think it is now, right? Was it kind of recently that they like don't have that?
I guess, but it was happening in 2008.
Oh, okay. All right.
So that's the last person I remember.
Yeah. If you used a Eurail pass recently, let us know.
Yeah.
I don't think they're around anymore.
Well, yeah.
Or not even recently, within the last like 2 years. Like who knows?
Yeah, I'm intrigued to know actually.
Let's see. And then I love how they're walking through the street, and I love how like Celine thinks that men invented feminism just to justify like fooling around, like women.
I know, which kind of makes sense too. I mean, yeah.
Sense. And then there's just so many conversations that we could just like go on and on about. But I love one of my other favorite scenes. I guess I'm like kind of getting into them, but it's when they're in the restaurant in Vienna and they both like call their friends.
I know. I love that. I love
is when he calls his friend and then she answers and he's like, "Hey, dude."
Hey, dude.
And that's the best. And she's like, "Hey, dude, what's up?"
I know, it's really funny. It's like, yeah, that's one of my favorites too.
I really love that. It's so
again, it just feels very like real and like something that you would have done in the 90s, you know? Like,
yeah, totally.
Yeah, I love that. Is that when they're in the restaurant when there's other people like they show their conversations for like seconds? Okay, yeah. And then where do they go after that?
Then they go to the riverboat.
Oh yeah.
And they're up on the riverboat and I think they're like drinking, and then after that they're like, hey, like let's go spend time let's go get like some wine. So then they go to that bar and he like doesn't have any money. And I love how he goes up to the bartender and he's like, hey, I'm just with this girl for one night. Like, if you give me the address, I'll swear to like pay you the money and like mail it to you.
I know. Oh,
and he like looks at her and she's like sitting there like taking the glasses. And she's just sitting there like looking all kind of weird. And then he just gives him the bottle, which I thought was really funny.
I know. I actually think that's that can happen for sure. Stuff like that happened to my friends, actually.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, totally. I totally believe in something like that, for sure.
I feel it's just like also like he has a really good excuse. Like he's just met this girl and this is their only night together. And I think the guy was a bit of a romantic, so he was like, yeah, cool, you know?
Yeah, like, here, take it.
It's so very cute. Yeah, I love everything that happens from then. Because they got to the park.
Yeah, I was gonna say I love the night at the park, and I love how they're like talking rationally about whether to sleep together. Like, it's like, all right, well, if I don't ever see you again, then like maybe we should. And then there are all these like back and forth of like maybe that we will, maybe we won't kind of.
She's like, I don't think we should have sex because then I'm gonna feel bad because then I won't see you again. And she's like, okay, yeah, no, I think we should have sex. And she's like, okay, yeah, it's such a. I have to say that really reminds me of like, I don't know. It's something that quite a lot of girls do, you know? They kind of like, you say something that you actually don't want and then you change your mind, you know?
It's true.
It's kind of, you say what you don't really mean and then you change your mind. It's like, I don't know why a lot of girls are like that, actually.
It is true, like indecisive.
Yeah, very. Mm-hmm.
I do love that whole conversation, and then I love how they just show like the next scene is the sunrise. I always thought they slept
No,
together, but apparently there's been some articles where people like weren't sure. But
I think they do
they
because
do. No, and Linklater said like I kind of made it a little obvious like the next morning that she
yeah,
like
because she's
have
not
the
wearing her
shirt.
t-shirt.
Yeah, like he was like I thought it was kind of clear, but I didn't mean for it to be like super ambiguous. But then I think before sunset they actually like bring it up. Like you
Oh, do they? Okay.
actually find out that they did sleep together. I think it's still
Well,
that's probably why because he heard that people were like, "Did they?" So he probably was like, "Fuck it." Like, okay, I'm just gonna say that they did, so you guys know.
yeah. Well, I mean, it is romantic and all, but they clearly didn't use protection because it's not like he was carrying condoms, right?
I don't know. Do you think it's the
I can't.
'90s?
No, because okay, they both left their luggage in the
You're
lockers, so
right.
they only sort of walk around. And she has her backpack, but I honestly don't think she was thinking that before she got off the train. Well, as she got off the train and between leaving stuff in the lockers and everything, I can imagine them thinking, "I'm just gonna take my condom out in case I need it." You know, like
True.
I don't think so.
Oh, good.
But I mean, yeah.
Didn't think about that, but yeah. Oh well. Yeah. Thankfully, nothing happened, and it was nothing like crazy.
Yeah.
The next one that would have been a whole other thing, where like the next time she sees him, she like has this baby, and she's like,
Oh God.
That's
Yeah.
course, like, and then okay, you see the sunrise, and then they're like walking through the streets, and it's like I love sunrise in general, how everything's like closed down, and then everything's like, like some people are moving around. I love all those stills that they show
Me too, with the same places where they. Oh no, that's at the end.
later, yeah. But like
That's
just
at the end, yeah.
sunrise, they like show bits of the city in the sunrise, and you see that,
Yeah.
and then you hear that harpsichord, and then they're like dancing in this.
I love that they're dancing. It's so romantic.
I love all the last scenes. Like then they go to the bells. Like where like they're more like downtown, I guess. Then you
It's
hear
like a
bells.
it's like a piazza, some
Yeah.
sort of yeah.
And then you get to the train station, and then they're like really quickly. They're like, "Wait, oh my god, I didn't mean it about like not wanting to see each other again. Like we should meet like 6 months from now, like right here, 6 o'clock, like the same time." And then they just like she like runs and gets on the train, and it's like so like oh my god, like are we gonna if we want to see each other again? And then that's when they show all the stills of the places that they were throughout the film. I love that part. That was the only note that I had for like theme and mood was that I just really love that part.
Yeah.
And then
I know.
see each of them traveling back, and then like that's it.
I know, it's so sad.
I know. It's like each one on the journey home. For my theme and mood, I just have that. I love the stills, and it's just very like super real. I mean, there wasn't that much like insane cinematography or anything. Like it was just very much like what you would see with your eye.
Yeah, it was quite simple, yeah.
Same with the
But
music too. It was the song in the record booth, and then just the harpsichord. There wasn't much music throughout though.
yeah, there was some, but it was very like. I mean, the only thing that stood out was that song by Kath. What's her
Bloom,
name?
Kath Bloom.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and obviously they have some Vivaldi and like
Oh
Beethoven as well, which is obviously like yeah, like
Viennese, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I love that it's set in Vienna rather than Paris, even though they shot the second one in Paris. But I think it would have been more like I don't mind that the second one was in Paris because the first one it's cooler that it wasn't. You know what I mean? Like
true.
it would have been too obvious. Like oh yeah, Paris, of course, yeah, you know.
Love, yeah.
And the thing is, like to me, like it is equally as romantic as being in Paris because any sort of old country where there is so much history, that in itself is like romantic, you know.
Yeah,
So anywhere really, Rome is beautiful, like Florence, Siena, all of those places. But yeah, I love the shots of the city, like you, and I love how at the end they show this all the places that they were together in, but empty this time, you know. Like even the park scene, there's like bottles. There's just the bottle and the glasses, and there's some ladies just walking through it.
Yeah.
And yeah, the sunrise, and all the shots that are when they're at that tower overlooking the theme park.
Mm-hmm.
That was really cool.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like, it's just beautiful, really. What about for fashion?
Yeah, what are your fashion notes?
Okay, fashion. I honestly like, it's all the 90s stuff that I actually really like and that I used to wear.
Yeah.
It's like grungy. It's like the sleek dress with a t-shirt underneath. Like, I used to wear Doc Martens with stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
But she wears the backpack is so 90s with the string,
Yeah, I totally had one of those.
It's so, I used to have it too. And like the plaid shirt like wrap around the waist. I mean, that was like so 90s. Like I used to do that too. They were like boxy, they were like oversized, so they were like men's shirts and used to wrap them around your waist. Jesse's haircut, so 90s, and like
His whole outfit.
baggy jeans, leather jacket. I even really love what the two Viennese guys wear, like at the street poet. They have those really cool small glasses, and like they're kind of like, I don't know, kind of got that 50s thing going on. They dress completely different.
Definitely have an original vibe.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. It's just really cool. I love that you only see them wearing one outfit.
The whole time.
Yeah, and then she takes the t-shirt off, but she still wears the dress, and she has those like braids. Like her hair is different. Yeah, it's and then obviously the street poet, super hot. That's nothing to do with fashion, but he's just hot.
I did not even think that you were gonna think he was hot. That's so funny.
Yeah, no, he was. He was like, I'm pretty sure he was wearing like
suit, right?
Like, no, a lot of guys in France, actually, in Germany, they wear these like high-waisted tailored trousers. They were high-waisted, not entirely high-waist, but kind of high-waist, and he had like a black top, like a sweater, and then he had this like jacket over it. It's just like so hot, just like an artist. That's just how artists dress, basically. Even now.
Yeah, it's true. I guess it doesn't really change.
What about you for fashion?
I have literally like the same notes. I love Celine's layered dress and like the tee with the flannel and the black shoes. It's so much of what I totally would wear back then.
Yeah. I don't like her shoes, but yeah.
They're just like plain black, like lace ups, like kind of like whatever sneakers. And I love Jessie. I love the burgundy turtleneck on Jessie more than I like the leather jacket.
I know, me too. I'm obsessed with
the leather jacket with the burgundy turtleneck would be like spot on. But then
I think men just look really hot in like turtlenecks.
Yeah, it depends. They have to have a good face and like good bone structure. I think he has incredible bone structure. Ethan Hawke. His face. What are your favorite scenes? I feel like I've already told mine pretty much.
So we had the same one, right? We're there at the record store and they look at each other when the other looks away. I think that's like really cool. And the song, they're not talking. I love that. When they first meet on the train and the German couple's arguing, like also that.
I like that too.
And everything that happens from when they are in the park and then they kiss and they walk around until the end. Like I think I love, not right to the end when they say goodbye, but when they're sitting in that piazza place and like she's sort of laying down with her head on his lap, that all of that, like the dialogue between them, all of that is my favorite. Also, like I like one moment, but it's not my favorite scene. I forgot to mention it earlier. Do you remember when they talk about technology, like before they go into the bar, and they were like, I hate technology. Like you could get a whatever processor and like that is meant to save you time, but then you just end up wasting more time, the time that you're saving when you like use technology. And it's so true. It's like you buy all these gadgets that are meant to help you to save time, but you ended up wasting the time that you saved. You just waste it. So it's basically they help you to waste more time. Like it's weird, but I really like that line when they talk about technology, because that's how I feel basically.
Yeah, it's true. I've wasted so much time on the fucking internet.
I know.
Oh, you know what I mean? Like,
what are your favorite scenes?
Mine are the record store booth, inside that bar, the club with the music. I wrote "My Dream." I love telephone call that Cecile makes to her friend in Paris. I love how she describes,
that's
like,
cool.
he's American, he's like this. I love that scene. And then the poet on the street.
That's I forgot to write that, but yeah, I love what he says, and I just think it's cool that of course there's going to be a poet on the street at night, and like they
Vienna.
always approach couples, you know, like
Cool. And he was like, I like this. He's like, this is a typical different kind of like bum that's like asking.
totally, yeah.
One is a fortune teller, like one is a poet. You know, it's very different than what we're
So
used
different.
to here. Do you have any quotes?
I have loads.
Oh wow,
So-
okay, good. I only have one.
No, do you?
I do. I couldn't. Everything I wanted to think of was actually a conversation, so I couldn't
know.
like narrow it down to a line. But mine isn't even like one that's from the main characters.
Oh, okay. Okay, so my first one is, why do I make everything so complicated? Celine says that.
That's funny.
Because she does like make everything very complicated when she explains it. What's yours?
Mine is just from the only one that I have is just the one from the fortune teller when she just says stardust, we're all stardust.
Yeah, I love that. No, that's really cool.
That's
yeah, I love that. Yeah, I mean, okay, I have these other ones. I'm not gonna say mention them all, but I like these. These are a bit long. So Celine says, if there is any kind of magic in this world, it must be in the attempt of understanding someone, sharing something. I know it's almost impossible to succeed, but who cares really? The answer must be in the attempt. I just think it's quite beautiful.
That is true.
That it is true. It's like the magic is never like the ending result. It's like everything that happens in between, you know, the attempt. I think that's cool. And I really like this. So this is it. I'm just gonna say this one. Jessie says, I kind of see this or love as this. Escape for two people who don't know how to be alone. People always talk about how love is this totally unselfish, giving thing. But if you think about it, there is nothing more selfish. And it's kind of true.
It's kind of funny coming from Jessie too.
I know, but I kind of agree. When you love someone, you just want them to be with you, or you just want to be with them. It's kind of selfish. You don't care about anyone else.
Yeah,
it's like so many aspects of love are like just want to spend time with them. I don't know. It's a weird thing, but I just really like that. I don't think I ever heard anyone saying that before. So
yeah, that's cool. It's a different like approach to it. Like it's definitely something I've never heard before, in reality or in a film.
Mm-hmm.
Which is cool. Yeah. What other ones?
I like it when Jessie says, "I'm gonna take your picture so I never forget you." Like this, and he's just like taking a mental photo of Celine. I think that's cute.
Yeah, that is pretty cool. That was in another film too, but it was way later than that.
Okay, yeah, I'm sure. I mean, I think like they were quite original with what they said.
I feel
like, right? Yeah.
I think so. It's just like so different.
So different. Do you have any
90s moments?
90s things, yeah.
The only two that I have are that bar and that club, that dive place, just super 90s, but that has also the arcade in there. And then the record store, which sadly I don't know is like still a thing. Maybe in Europe it still is, and in Vienna.
It is, yeah. You still have lots of record stores. It's like a thing. Yeah.
We have a few, but I mean,
well, because there's so many music producers and artists that they're the ones that really buy them for the most part, you know.
Oh yeah, to like spin and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's true. What about you?
So I think asking people for advice on where to go or what to do.
Oh wow, that is
because
90s.
Because like, come on, like we have fucking smartphones. There are fucking apps for like when you go to Berlin, for example, things to see and do, and you don't ever ask strangers. You don't ask people.
That's true.
So I think for me that's pretty 90s. Yeah, I mean, again, this is fashion, but like everything that Celine wears, head to toe, really, it's like
it's super 90s.
It's super 90s. Like, yeah, yeah.
Their chemistry is no, I just have those two. I was just gonna say, like, my closing thoughts. It's just like, God, these two are just such great actors.
They
Their
are. Yeah, they
chemistry is
both
just
are.
so insane. Like I'm trying to
I,
think of another film that has stuff like that. You know.
yeah, I can't think of anything. I was watching it thinking the same. Like I can't really. I mean, there's like a love story. Obviously, like it's amazing, but funny enough, it's called A Love Story. You know that 70s film? It's
No.
American. Yeah, it's called Love Story.
Oh, I don't know
And
that. Who's in that?
I don't know the names. It's just like a classic, but um, yeah, it's different. It's just like a like when I think of love stories, I think of that one, not for the title because it is just a story really, and because it's old, it's like 70s, right?
Oh,
And I think of this film. I think there is another one, but I can't really remember like any other like true like love story that's between comedy and like without being too serious,
yeah. I was gonna say yeah, something that's pretty light. I don't know.
Besides the obvious, obviously like Shakespeare, like I don't know,
Yeah,
like Romeo
yeah.
and Juliet, like it's not different kind of love story, but it's a beautiful one too. Yeah, I don't know. I'm sure there are. I just can't think. I couldn't think of one today, and I can't think of one now.
Crazy.
Do you have war scenes?
No, I don't have any. Do you?
Yeah, so I was watching thinking there's no like war scenes, I mean that. But I have to say when Jesse takes Celine to the train at the end, I think that's quite because it's just so sad and I can really feel their I don't know. I can really go through their emotions, of like you're saying goodbye to someone you just had like the best time and like you just really connected with someone. Um
It is really sad.
yeah,
Like
it's
it's happy, but it's also sad.
yeah, it is. And I guess because it reminds me of the fact that the film was based on the director's own experience,
I know, and it's so
and that he
tragic.
ended that way.
And
It's
it's
so
also
sad.
tragic about her that she,
Yeah,
yeah, that she died. God, that's true.
yeah.
Yeah, that's all
But
we have.
do you think? Do you think? Like, do you see this film as timeless, or like, do you think it has a timeless quality to it?
I think so. I think the connection between two people meeting that way is kind of timeless. You
Yeah,
have a connection
I
like that with
agree.
someone, I feel like if I was in that position and I was really connecting with someone on that level, I don't think I would look at my phone. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
I think for me anyway, we're also a bit older past the cell phone generation where I cannot look at my phone for a long period of time. It's fine. But
Hmm.
I feel like if I had that deep of a connection, I wouldn't want to like do something that would fuck it up, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's regardless whether it was in the 90s and like it was before smartphones and everything, but it is about the connection really of
Yeah.
like two people who complete different backgrounds and like they live in different countries and stuff and they just met and connected, and I feel like that will always speak to any generation, like
Mhm. And they connect with like
yeah,
simple fundamental principles of life and love and,
yeah,
everything
exactly.
that almost everyone can relate to, no matter where you're from. You still have those feelings.
Yeah, I
So
agree. I also think
I
it's
love it.
really cool. Me too. I love it. I think it's really amazing that they. I mean, I'm trying to think of any sort of trilogies, like famous movies that are not like superhero
Yeah, I was gonna say not like
stories or
franchise
whatever.
movies. Yeah.
Yeah, that are there's literally I can't think of any that's been this well done. And also that's been so successful because like for them to make one normally if they do that the first one is kind of like the best one, but this was great, but then the second one was really good, and apparently the third one was even better.
And
So much that
they're also different.
they had like they had Oscar nominations and
Yeah,
everything,
for the screenplay, I think.
and they also made a lot of it made a lot of money. So I think it's quite remarkable, really, that you know that they created this
Yeah,
and
like this whole kind of network and this whole story and this group of
yeah,
people. It's really cool. And that they're all collaborating together because they said when they were casting, they wanted it to be like collaborative, not just actors who just said the words, you know? Like it had
yeah,
to
and
be
maybe
they write it too.
Yeah, no, I know. And maybe it was just that great because they collaborated rather than like it was one man's vision, one like based on whatever, it was like throughout the three movies they it was like like collaborative like project and stuff. So it totally
Yes,
makes sense that it
it's
that
so
it came out
good.
so well. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yay. Well,
Yeah.
this is the end of the show, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you guys watched Before Sunrise. It's actually on HBO Max right now, so if you have it, check it out. It does pop up on Netflix every now and again. I think I've seen
That's
it.
it. Okay.
I've seen it on
Cool.
there, yeah. But I'm gonna watch Before Midnight pretty soon because now
I know, me
I'm gonna
too.
watch
I think
Before
so.
Sunset and then we'll watch Before Midnight too.
Let's watch it like around the same time so we can talk about
Yeah,
it.
totally. Yeah, because we'll cover it maybe another time, but we're sticking to 90s, so we have so many more on the list. So stay tuned.
So
So
many
many,
more.
so many.
Yeah, this was really great. Thank
Yeah, it
you.
was so fun. Well, we will see you guys on the next one.
Bye.
Bye.